Hey, welcome back everybody. It's yours truly, Mr. Derek T. Stevens. Alongside of me is 50 Shades of Nelson. We're going to be talking MMO stuff today. So MMO Concept class. Before we do that, I just really want to give a heads up or a tip of the hat to Mr. Steve Curtis, rocking it out with some daily drops. If you've not been to 3D Buzz website, go there as soon as you can. We've got tons planned. Steve's been doing some stuff for 3ds Max. Some really good, short, sweet, to the point lessons. Check them out. We got more on the way. I'll be doing art stuff there as well. Um, Believe it or not, you'll also learn how to draw a pony here pretty soon. And not just any pony, but Rainbow Dash. She's like the be-all, end-all of ponies, right, Mr. 50 Shades of Nelson?
Oh, she is a fan favorite.
So we got a lot going on at 3dbuzz.com. So I really encourage you guys, go to the website, check it out. Use the forums, utilize them. Let's take them back. And right now I'm making a call out to all artists. And I know we have several in class. That's great. I want more. I want you to tell your friends about 3D Buzz. I want you to Facebook 3D Buzz. I want you to use social media to drive more artists to 3D Buzz. I want our artists, you in particular, get first shot at actual publication. There's some other things that we're working on, but I want other artists to help us make our vision come true. We've had 4 artists on the comic book, and it seems now that because of work, life, and other things, I can't say we're losing artists, but it's getting harder and harder to produce. And my everyday profession, that's what I do. I draw all day, all night. And I don't want it to be about, hey, look what Derek Stevens came up with. It's not the point. I want to showcase your artwork. So get the word out. Come to 3D Buzz. Get them a member sponsorship. And tell them why, because we have hours and hours of content if they want to learn 3D. We've got all sorts of programs for that. We've got all my art stuff that we're going to be doing. We have new classes that are going to be rolling out that I can't really talk of. Not yet, but they're big. Get some artists here. Friend people. Network, network, network. Can I have a hoorah?
Yes.
You're a smart aleck, Mr. Nelson. And thank goodness I looked at my notes saying no bad words, because I almost called you something other than a smart aleck. It rhymes with bass or gas. Ras isn't a word, but if it was, it'd rhyme with that as well. So with that, let's get started tonight. Go ahead and bring Mr. Ray in, if you would, please. And actually, before Mr. Ray starts talking, we got a lot to discuss. I want you guys to take a look at my screen. You're probably like, wow, that's a funny looking Photoshop. It's not Photoshop. It is Manga Studio. I'm going to be working in Manga Studio exclusively tonight. I want to show you the power of it. We're going to talk about all the things it can do for comic books here in a little bit. The new version, Pro version, just came out. It is powerful. I will be getting one myself. I talked to my wife about it. She's like, and she's cool. She said, yeah, you can get one of those. So I just have to sell some more blood and get some more cans on the road and turn them in, and I'll get the Pro extension of Manga Studio. But calling your attention to the screen real quick right here, my pointer. This is when we first started this whole project in 2010, 2010. And I remember Buzz and Zach is like, just draw something cool. It's going to be something in space. It's going to be a great MMO game. This is before we knew about Elysians. This is before we knew about anything that we're going to do. So I really tried to cover the gambit. We can see we still have the pointed ears and the long hair, because I like pointed ears on chicks. I got some holy guy. I really like to implement some of these guys in our game. And I'm asking Mr. Ray maybe to find out, because my theory is, the Elysians are just so deluged in the religion and culture. And right now all we've been really doing is talking about the military type culture. We know there's a secret society, so this is why I brought this up. Books. This guy right here I think would be kind of cool from sort of spec ops shadow secret society thing. Then of course we have all the cybernetic wear that I really wanted to do. I really want to visit the idea of having chop shops where maybe part of the quest, some of your cybernetic wear is taken. And of course you'll get it back. Even if you quit X adventure, you can get it back immediately. But a small term where you're handicapped in some sort from people who steal your cyberware, I think that'd be kind of cool in the outskirts. But I really kind of wanted to show you what was going on. This is the penciled version, inked version. All this was done by hand. This is before Steve Curtis said, hey, be digital. and I can argue with him because I didn't know him then. But now I know him. Now I can argue with him, and I hate to say that he's right, like my wife is 99.9% right. Got to go digital. So tonight we're going to actually go over a comic book page. I'm going to show you the script. I'm going to show you what I came up, how I broke down the page. We're going to ink it. And as I'm doing all this, Mr. Ray's going to be talking more and more about story and kind of kill two birds with one stone. Because we don't do this, we don't need to do it at all. We need to do it right. This is why I need more artists. Right now, we're going to go over page 6 to ink everything up. After I talk about the breakdown, we have part of page 7 that's already inked. I've showed you that, and I'll show it to you again. So if, I guess the best case scenario is we'll have 7 pages done because they're going to start rolling out on 3D Buzz very shortly. And I would like to have had at least 15 pages done at this point. Wolf Knightley, awesome guy, but he's only one man. He's a hell of a man, but he can only color so much. I need colorists. I need people who want to do comic book work. Even small breakdowns would be amazing. Then you can throw them to another artist who can actually, draw on the form, and we have someone who can ink them. I need more art teams. I don't want us to work ourselves in the ground. And I understand small teams, hey, rock on. Special ops, small teams, they're the way to go. But we all have real lives that get in our way. We have work, we have children, we have dates. We have brand new games coming out on Xbox that we might want to play instead of working all the time. So with that, Mr. Ray, are you here, sir?
Yes, I am.
So what do you think about my little rant?
I encouraged you to go digital quite a while ago.
Mm-hmm. You did, and I fought it, and I didn't do it until I got Manga Studio, man. Seriously. I didn't like how it felt to ink or draw in Photoshop that much, but I really love how everything feels in Manga. And I almost sent you this page because I got the page done like by 10:30 my time last night. I'm like, no, I'm going to show it to him, and that's what he says, and get his live feedback from it. So if we have to make some switches and changes, we can. So, but before we do that, do you want us to take your screen so you can show the pages that are colored and inked, and also you have your word balloons on? I think everyone would behoove that, and we'll have you read it because you have a super sexy, cool voice.
Well, I'll show what I have. I'm calling up Manga Studio as we speak.
Brilliant. And did you load up the new one?
Yeah, I have the new one now. So
awesome.
It'll actually be a series of comic pages.
Rock on. And when we get that done, we'll jump right into page 6. Actually, we'll jump into page 7 that is already inked up, and then go back to page 6. I'm not for sure we're off on the page count, but we will do this. And like you and I talked about, I want to do this. I believe in this. If I have to do it myself, which I don't want to do myself, it's not fair. It's not Derek's Corner. It's not the crow's nest. Look at my artwork. Here it is. It's our artwork. So I need people to step up.
So whenever you're ready for me to show my screen, I'm now ready.
Roger that. Mr. 50 Shades of Nelson, can you take his screen, please? Thank you, sir.
Okay, can you guys see me?
I can see you.
Okay, so this is page number 1. And if you'll see over here in the left-hand side, this is where we have our page layout. This is the Manga Studio EX5. So this is our splash page, which you all have seen. I did rework this so that the word command was spelled correctly.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
But here we are, Journey to Aletheia, where in the mists of millennia past, its natives bonded with silicon life forms, living crystals, capable of manipulating matter and energy at the quantum level, giving Alethians command over fire, earth, water, and air.
And one hell of a job coloring, Mr. Wolf. Beautiful job.
Wolf did that, absolutely. Page 1 of the actual story. On their first birthdays, Alethian infants are presented with at least 4 potential soul stones. Each chooses one to bond with for life. The child's command over Alethia's silicon life forms will rely on its own skill and the chosen stone's power. The market for promising soul stones is a rich one. Earthone, look, Downey picked the best soul stone. I'm so relieved. It wasn't just the price. It took us months to find it, says her friend. Oh, Natty, I'm so happy for you. He's quite the handsome one today. Shouldn't little Cynthia be bonding any dawning now? Yes, in 3 spits. I'm sure she'll do fine. After all, she's Clan Clarish. Lady Earthone, born to the elite Clan Clarish, was disinherited when she married Arneth, a common guildsman and maker of war staves. His soulstone was so beautiful. I've done the best I can, love. The work has just dried up. I know, darling. I know. Page 3. My dear Earthone, may I have that delightful young lady? Now, I rearranged some of this because of the story flow. So he gets Cynthia, sits her down, says to the father, do you have the stones? He gets them, puts them in the arena. Choose well. This will set your life's course. But suddenly, a mysterious stranger launches a strange glowing stone into the ring. Cynthia lurches toward it. Mother yells no, but it's too late. The child is mesmerized by the stone, bonds with it, and the mage says, let us hope for the best, little one. I sense no evil here. Now we join Cynthia as she's growing up. And again, I rearranged some of this for story flow. And her teacher is getting all of the students together for the first day of school. As we begin to learn full control of our soul stones, let us remember Lady Clara. Over 5,000 years ago, she was the first Alethian to have the courage to bond with the soul stone. That is it is her teaching we hand down to you today. This class is especially fortunate. Your fellow student Cynthia is Clan Clarish and is a direct descendant of Lady Claro. Cynthia's not so happy to be pointed out. They begin their first class. The children's always love learning to control fire, but it looks like Cynthia isn't doing so well. And when Wolf colors this, you're going to have the beginning of a glow, but all that comes out of her hand here is smoke. And her teacher says, I don't understand it. She's Clan Clarish. Poor girl. So that's where we are so far. That's up through page 5.
All right, Mr. 50 Shades of Nelson, if you can open it up to anybody has any questions or comments, that would be fantastic.
I don't see anything. I mean, do you want me to bring people in?
Yeah, go ahead and bring them in, if you don't mind. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is our project, and I need your voice. I need your opinion. I know we have some lurkers out there. Lurkers are fine. That's great, but don't always be a lurker like Miguel. If you look what Miguel did in a matter of a week, how far he's come. I encourage you guys and gals to do the same thing. Put yourself out there. I'm not going to make fun of you. I may snicker a little bit at Steve every now and then, but never Mr. Ray. But I won't do that to the rest of you. I promise you that. So who do we got in so far?
Old man.
I brought in Richard, Steve, and Wolf.
Rock on. Well, Mr.
Hey.
Steve, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask Ray if does that mean that page 3 is done, but for color?
Well,
Are we
I'm
using
not sure that my rearrangement here is the best possible way. You can see that here below this panel that goes across, it's a little messed up. But I could send this to you, and you could probably clean it up pretty well. I mean, this section up here, Cynthia could get spread out a little bit more and that sort of thing. But yeah, I don't think. I know Eve is just jammed with work.
Is Eve here tonight?
It's different. It's just a little bit of changing around on the art, and I think we have the story down correctly. I'm not sure I did the alterations as well as they could have been done. I was just trying to create the idea of what the flow, I think, should look like.
Is Zeph here tonight, 50 Shades?
No.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
if you think you can clean this up and you can see the idea and make it flow a little bit better, then yeah, go for it.
yeah, I could give that a try. I definitely understand why you need to rearrange for story reasons, but yeah, it could look better.
Yeah, it could look
All right.
a lot better.
But yeah,
I like
okay.
it. Do you think you can do that, Mr. Wolf?
Yeah, and then I would just color in what's there, and then we'd be done with
By
that.
the end of class, right, Wolf?
Yeah.
He doesn't need that much time. During our 10-minute break, I'm sure he'll get it done.
And I did something similar over here on page 5. I dropped these panels down. I took this image and combined it with the teacher talking to her fellow teacher, because I needed the room up here for these two word balloons, and I also just thought the flow of this going from here to here to here worked for me a little better. Now, again, that's a matter of taste, but I was just trying to get the flow of the story.
Right, yeah, no, that works. I see what you did there. I mean, there was a huge open space. I imagined that there was going to be a lot of words on the bottom there. But yeah, no, that works to just push them down. Did you get? I should have sent.
Yeah, I got that, and frankly, any one of those color schemes would have been fine with me. But you really need to talk to the artists.
I like number 3 really well.
Yeah, it was all great work.
Yeah, and let me tell you guys and gals what Mr. Wolf did. Actually, do you have your screen up, Mr. Wolf?
Yeah, I could show it.
50 Shades, take it if you don't mind, because I really want to brag on Wolf for just a second. And this is what I mean. Wolf has passion, and I know it takes lots of time to color. But he didn't do just one rendition. He did, I think, 5. We see it. He's done like 5 different renditions to get the color schemes right.
Yes.
And I really want to, again, showcase what we can do. I really believe we can do some professional level work. Go for it.
Yeah, this is actually my favorite, but I think they all work, so I would be fine with any of them. But that's why I just thought I would leave it up, or just see at least get feedback.
I like the smoke. I love this little smoke coming through there. The little shades.
Yeah, that took some work to get it right. Did a few different things and finally got that.
Well, what was your workflow? What'd you do?
Well, I mean, at first I was going for more of a light smoke, but it was hard to read, so I ended up darkening it up, and I guess I did it in some layers, and I kind of I drew it with pressure sensitivity on, and then I also used eraser with pressure sensitivities for opacity, and so I just kind of shaped it that way, and then I merged them all together.
Nice. Can you scroll through the other ones that you sent us?
Now this one, I see a lot of comics doing this, where they just black out everything.
Right.
Now I think that's always a sharp look, but I also think that maybe, because I kind of had the idea that different pages could kind of
A different theme.
Yeah, different themes depending on what's going on, and that's why I like the first one, because one of the reasons is that it's yellow and it has to do with fire and all that. This one, I was thinking that black would be especially, it would be nice maybe to save for inside the hive or something like that, where it's
totally
nighttime or whatever, so it just kind of sets the mood. This is the one Derek likes. Again, it's crimson fire colored.
I just like it because
I love the richness of the burgundy.
yeah, me too, and I love how it complements the other reds. It really brings them out.
The one thing I think this is sharp. The one thing I worry about is that my eye kind of pulls to it a little bit, and I don't know if that's, you know, it's almost like draws my eye to it. But maybe
I can understand. No, I can understand that.
But
Show me the other ones.
I do like that. This one's just pretty. It doesn't really
I like that.
it doesn't really fit any theme, really,
Well,
except I guess that
would
open
beg to differ.
space.
I beg to
And
differ because it shows. I mean, this is the beginning of hope. She's working hard. There's hope here,
yeah.
and I believe white or this bluish white could be symbolic of that. It's a brand new dawn. It's a brand new day sort of thing.
Right. And of course there's the blue crystals here, and there's, she's wearing a blue dress, so, it can work. And then this is just plain white. This is what Steve likes the best, but and it would be fine, but I also think it's kind of boring, because it's just every page is kind of white.
So what color theme do you think we should go for, ladies and gentlemen?
I like colors.
Go ahead.
I like the lighter colors.
Yeah, now that I see them in full screen and one at a time, right in succession like that, I like the lighter colors as well. I think we should.
Darker backgrounds are just, I don't know, kind of overwhelming. I mean, they're pretty, but they're overwhelming.
But I don't think it sets the proper mood just yet.
Right. What do you think about? What do you think about this? I think it's just pretty.
I do. I love it.
Yeah.
I think we should definitely go with the yellow or the bluish one. What do you guys think?
As I said, I like them all. So I tip my hat and I bow graciously to whatever the artists decide. That's above my pay grade.
Hoorah!
Also,
Steve?
I'm happy with how the fire turned out.
Me too. The fire looks really, really good. Steve, what are your
Personally,
thoughts?
my vote's for the blue.
Blue? I like blue too.
I like the blue. Is my mic not coming through very good?
What? No, tease.
We can hear you right now.
Yeah, you sound fine.
Oh, okay. So I said I like the blue like 5 times.
Okay, I'm sorry. We didn't hear you.
No.
Steve likes the blue.
I like the blue.
Someone post that on Facebook and send out some tweets. Steve likes the blue, so everyone gets the memo.
It's actually my favorite are the yellow and the blue. So just by, well, I don't know what it is.
Blue. Let's go for blue, so we know what we're doing then.
All
All right.
And Ray, you're happy with this light thing where she's trying?
You might want the glow to be a little bit more pronounced. So
I'd agree.
and
A little brighter.
the way I moved those down, I think by moving those images down, it makes a little more sense because that one will be right next to all the other kids with the fire. And then I took the teacher and the kids out of the background of those two and then combined the bottom two together. But it's a little bit more of a glow. I love the smoke, but we really need to sell that they're succeeding and she screws up.
Right. No, I agree.
So in this one, you took all these background people.
Both of those, yeah.
What we can do is, Mr. Ray, if you can send him the file, the page that you got done,
Yeah.
so then Wolf can recreate it, that would be great.
Yeah, we'll probably have to talk about it a little bit so I make sure I know what you're thinking.
All right, Roger that.
Actually,
Hey, Mr.
I'll be very happy. As soon as class is over, I will send that out to you.
Okay, cool.
I just had a thought as far as the, like when she's trying to cast a spell and stuff like that. Should it maybe be something where the crystal itself also glows?
Well, the issue here is that her crystal doesn't do what the other kids' crystals do, and everyone thinks that's just because it's a bad crystal. What we learn later is that it's just a different crystal and it has its own powers. But I don't think it would be glowing right now when she's failing to,
Okay.
to have things work. But the instant things start to work, which is going to be in the set of challenges, it should be glowing, and it glows when she bonds with it. So we have seen it glow in the bonding process, and we'll see it glow again when it comes into its own and shows everyone that it's actually more powerful than anyone else's. So.
Sweet. Okay.
They all have kind of an ambient glow, but not like I think you're talking about a heightened glow. Or...
Yeah, basically, when it's in use. Which, yeah, if her abilities aren't going to work until she gets a handle on that, then yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
And
but
again,
if you go back to the page where she was bonding, Wolf did an absolutely gorgeous job of getting it to glow there. I don't know if you have that handy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that was awesome.
So when it starts to kick in again and work during her challenges, you'll see that happening again.
And I just want to throw my hat, tip my hat to Sid Curtis. Beautiful job on these pages. So very proud of her. And comic book work is not easy, ladies and gentlemen. You have to worry about angles and this and that and story flow. And I really like how Mr. Ray just jumped in and said, hey, let me work on this even more. And I agree with how you broke down the page. It tells the story more. Sometimes as artists, and I'm just as guilty, you kind of have your own vision. And the way we work, and it's unfortunate because, we're not in a big studio together where we can say, hey, what do you think about this? What's this? We don't have that. And again, with workflow, Mr. Ray and I are talking. We're going to get the script. Each person is going to be in charge of one page. They get the script, and they draw very rough pencils, and they send them to Mr. Ray to look at, and then he can throw his suggestions about story flow, and then it's approved. Then we ink and color. I need more artists to do pencils. I need more artists to do inks. I need more artists to do color work. It's not fair for the little amount of artists that we have to keep doing all the work. And again, I'll do as much as I have to do because I believe in the project, but I do not want it to be, look, it's Derek Stevens' book. I don't want that. It's not why I'm here. We're here to learn, and we're here to produce together. It's our book, not mine. Not Mr. Ray's, not Steve's, it's our book. So with that said, again, Facebook, get a hold of some other artists, get them in here. And I really believe it'll be worth their while. With everything that comes with a member sponsorship, it's $35 a month, and you have all this content, and you have access to all these classes. Not only that, you have the chance to network with all these people. So definitely try to sell it on that point of view. If not, say we get hurrah. If not, say we fart rainbows and Care Bears slide down them. That's how cool we are.
Well, I will interject that I've spent a little time today talking with Richard, and he has been working on a concept of how the Earth ships might work, and he also came up with a fabulous thing that he did in Unity, where he has a figure floating against a starry sky that suddenly just starts to glow and shoot fire out from it. I don't know if we'll have a chance for him to show that, but it was pretty cool.
Richard, you're here, aren't you?
I am here, yep. I was actually lucky enough to get the day off.
Yay! Do you mind if we take your screen real quick?
Not at all, by all means.
Mr. 50 Shades of Nelson, take Mr. Richard's screen, please. And this is the payoff, man. We start seeing 3D models of our stuff made.
Okay. What are you guys seeing?
Okay, here we go. Some particles.
I'm running.
A dome.
Yep, I'm running two monitors, so I'm not really sure which one's showing up.
We're seeing one with the dome in the center.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, I'm still working on this, but this was just a quick idea I had in mind for sort of like the bigger domed cities. So like if they're a group of people that are looking for protection from radiation, they're basically going to go there if they can afford to. And then
What, you mean the humans would charge other humans to be safe? Why, I thought we'd grow up and be better by then. Evidently not. The only thing I see missing is like Coke and Pepsi signs. This dome sponsored by Pepsi.
Yeah, and I was thinking that those who can't afford to get into those secure zones would basically build slums and stuff like that on the outer edge of the city, where however this radiation shield is going to work. I was thinking there'd be some kind of effect that would radiate out from the city. It wouldn't provide the same protection as if you were inside the dome, but it's better than being outside of it. So that's basically where everybody else is kind of clustered around, trying to get what protection they can from the heightened radiation and stuff like that.
I like that thought process. Really, really well done.
I had oh shoot, that's missing that one.
And what Richard's doing right now, I mean, literally he could throw this to one of us artists. We can put it in a layer in Photoshop or Manga, and we can paint textures on top of it. And the perspective is sound on. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well,
Cool.
and then the nice thing is, and Steve did some great work that we saw last week using the same idea. Build your set in a 3D program, and then you can take your camera and put it anywhere, and then do your artwork on top of that with the comic. And then the neat thing is, when it comes time to do the game, to the extent that you want to use any of those assets, you might need to tweak them a little bit, but they're already built.
Hoorah. I like your thought process, sir.
That's true, yeah. And Sid, I apologize. That is our little dog that we have downstairs. I'd love to shut her up, but she barks even more when she sees me, so.
I thought it was Buzz in the background. Rah, 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 do this, do that. Jeez, he's going to kill me. He'd be a more manly dog. Rah, rah, rah.
So yeah, I've got this one here as well. It's sort of like a shot from ground level, looking up at that dome structure and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. I want to see that figure floating. Do you have that?
I do. Just get it running here. So I basically set this up. I grabbed a free character and a free cartoon shader from the asset store, and the quote-unquote pro version of this shader is like 15 bucks. I haven't picked it up yet, but essentially I wanted to set it up with like a lighting test to see if I could get the same sort of look that we have with the comic book.
Nice.
So I think it'd be really neat if we could kind of preserve that look for the characters that are running around on the screen. And
I love your
basically
thought
have it set up
process.
so
Yeah,
Now,
this is a great idea. I'm glad I thought of that.
Yeah.
This is lagging a little bit because of the screencast, but Richard sent me a link to a Dropbox where you can load it onto your own computer, and it's extremely smooth animation. And then you hit the space bar, and this figure begins to glow and then starts, there you go. And it all goes very smoothly. So Richard, I don't know if you might want to put that same
Wow.
that
Man, you
same
just
link in BuzzNet so that everyone else can see this as a full smooth.
I certainly can. Just give me 1 second here.
You captured that glow from Cynthia that Wolf put down. Excellent.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So this is where the payoffs going to come, guys. I mean, the comic book is just the tip of the iceberg to set down lore. Once we start making 3D assets and getting our development team all together,
Yeah,
it's not going to go fast, but it's going to go.
Richard just put that in BuzzNet. I really, really encourage people to go into that Dropbox because it's a web Unity quote-unquote game. And once it starts, just hit your space bar, and it runs extremely smoothly. It's just gorgeous.
Well done.
I'm really happy with the way it turned out.
We need to get the lithium
Yeah,
on
that's
over
pretty.
there to see what that could do too. But now we're going to have to start, I mean, later on. And for those who don't know, Steve Curtis, and I'm sure he can speak for himself because he talks my freaking ear off every day. Actually, I'm actually the one calling him. I'm like, oh, what's up, man? I'm bored. I need a break. He's going to go over texturing. He's doing rock textures right now in 3ds Max. Again, the daily drop things, and we're going to explore that more and more. There's a post I placed on 3D Buzz. Hey, what's the next art thing, next art class you want to learn? A lot of people are talking about textures, and Steve and I actually talked a little bit about that today and how we can present that. So I think we're all on the same wavelength and moving towards the same direction, and that makes me happy. I like to be happy.
This is really cool.
Why is the background space? Is it any particular reason?
I wanted to keep it a darker background, and the original test model I was working with was just a spaceship that I quickly threw in. So I got a chance to change the model. Didn't change the background yet.
Do you have the spaceships we can look at?
This is actually operating in real time in Unity. What you're seeing, it's lagging because of the broadcast.
Roger that.
She looks like a space jogger.
Well, sadly, when you're looking for free assets on the store, it's you're kind of in the beggars category. You can't be a chooser.
Yeah, you get what you pay for. But for the lighting test, well done. Very well done. I love the glow.
Okay, I'll just get the asset store out of the way here. Whenever this thing decides to catch up. Come on.
And, this is another layer of a stream of income for all artists to sell stuff to the asset store. I'm not for sure what they're giving for models and stuff, but it's something to keep in the back of your mind. The more you do, the better you get. And the more you do that are really good, the bigger following you are going to get.
Okay, yeah. Now, for reasons I am not entirely sure about, this one didn't cooperate when I threw the toon shader on, but just give me a quick second here. I'll throw on a temporary material.
Now, whatever he's doing, for those who do not know 3D artwork, the mesh, the spaceship, is all done in polygons, triangulated. And those shaders, those little round things down there, when he assigns a material to them, they will interact with light and the environment differently. And the toon shader is a complex node. Well, maybe not node, but we have nodes in Maya. That's what we call them. They're all linked up to specularity, this and that, and that's how you make your own shaders. And you can assign whatever you make to whatever, I guess, object that you have in 3D space. And light works just like light does here. And you can also break and bend rules where if you want light to only cast in one shadow, you can do that. Buzz and I were talking about a really cool photo shoot I got to do when I was down there. I got to play Jack the Ripper. I'm talking, we had pig guts and blood, and it was awesome. Reconstructing Mary Kelly's last stand, so to speak. That picture, it's famous, where she's all bloodied up. And I'm like, he did some three-point lighting that was beautiful. He's like, just like 3D, but it really works.
Yep, there we go. More or less.
bad.
Yeah, this one is actually for it's for a different project. It was an idea I was working on for essentially a dropship.
Okay.
So you'd have these engines that would eventually be rigged to move independently if they need to. And then they've got their sort of, I'd like to set that up as an independent.
Now what you guys are also seeing, that round thing, gimbal, we don't want to do gimbal lock, mind you, but allows you to select that particular object, and I hope it is named in your bars, or basically your layers area. And when he clicks on these, he's able to use animation or able to select the pivot point and drive them around. And then to animate them, you have to do, you hit S, and the whole animation thing is a whole other thing. I know in Maya, a lot of things we use set-driven keys, so if these two engines were to go back, That may, because it's set driven, when those go back, the small flaps underneath of it cause it to open, so the animator doesn't have to come in there and fool around with small bits of animation like that. And there's different schools of thoughts. So there's some quick 3D lessons for you. But really well done. I'm enjoying where it's going, sir.
Cool.
And I'm kind of sad.
Yeah, like I said, this. Oh, go ahead.
I'm kind of sad that's for a different project.
Well, yeah, me too. The more I work on it, the more I was really getting to like it, and I'm thinking I might work on something similar and see if I can get it up and running for the MMO project for sure. I was working on the Earth storyline, and talking to Ray about it earlier. The idea that humans have their own form of faster-than-light travel, and they basically use short-distance jumps to get out to another star system and all that kind of stuff. It takes time and it's pretty dangerous, but when they do finally get there, they have the equipment and whatnot that they need to progressively build a jump gate that would allow for essentially a one-stop jump all the way out to that other location. So I figured, similar to the way we have airliners today, I would just create a ship that could do that and just collectively call them jump liners.
I like that idea.
We were talking about them being able to do single jumps to the asteroid belt, the moons of Jupiter, Mars, but the further you go, if you don't have something on the other end, the smaller the object is. So when they started looking for new homes, they had small probes, then they sent a single person ship with just enough gear with him to create a small jump target so that they could send something a little bit larger to that with the equipment that you need to make an even bigger jump target, very much like the way we built the International Space Station. And that way you can logically get to the point where ultimately after some time then the Earth people will be able to send ships with 200 or 300 troops or colonists or whatever. So that was, and that's pretty much Richard's idea. I thought it was great.
Sponsored by Pepsi.
Yep. Well, I think we don't have to have some corporations, maybe not Pepsi in particular because they would sue us. But I foresee a time, if not right now in the future, that everything's going to be corporate driven. I mean, our space program right now is nil, zilch, not happening because of federal, money. We don't have it, so it's going to the private sector. And I'm all for that. Maybe one day space travel will be really cheap.
Well, that was Zach's idea. I think that there wasn't really any governments. There was just what corporations you were a member of. Just kind of running things. I thought that was a cool thing.
I love that idea because I'm a huge Shadowrun fiend, and I know Mr. A doesn't play a lot of video games, but this is all back during pen and paper. The world was ran by corporations, and corporations very much like mafioso families. You belong to this corporation, you had, strife and war and espionage. And that's another layer that we could hopefully go into with the humans. We've only touched on the military type side. So I definitely want to explore some of that. But go ahead and take my screen again, Mr. 50 Shades of Nelson. And Steve, did you have something else to say?
Spadoinkle?
Now here's my attempt at 3D way back in the day, but this is before Toon Shaders. I modeled it out and then did a vector render on it. And it gives it kind of that cartoony sort of look. But you can drive, or when I had the file, my computer since crashed and blew up since then, but at least I got to keep the picture. And then I would reposition it and then throw it in the light box and do what I needed to do. And I think this model took all of maybe 2.5 hours to create. Very, very simple shapes. And 3D is a very powerful tool that can be utilized as 2D as well. So
look at all that people.
It's important stuff, man. I mean, there's your first aid kit right there, and this is your Xbox hooked up for live version so you can play on the inside, and this is a Pepsi machine, and Over here, that's for your toilet paper. I don't know. It's important,
I
okay?
can't believe you actually modeled that, but you didn't know what Greeble was.
I never knew what Greeble was. I call
That's where that name comes from.
it detail.
Wait, what does it come from?
That you can't explain and doesn't have a use. It's just there to look cool. Greeble was the word invented so you didn't have to say because it looks cool.
Oh, I like an adjective, but these things have functionality. They're storage units. You have your weapons in there and tools and stuff.
Well,
Just that Xbox and Pepsi machine.
these days, greebles are also rivet heads and dish insets and that sort of thing. So looks cool, but can also be functional.
Roger that.
So wait, the next time someone asks me why I chose that color, I should just say Greeble.
Yeah.
Greeble. Greeble.
It sounds like a bad Fraggle. You know, yeah, Red, Boober, and Gobo, and Greeble. Here's my man card for knowing about the Fraggles. I'm going Fraggle Rock on you.
They also have things they call nernies, greebles and nernies.
Greebles and Ernie. Aren't they synonymous?
Well, it depends on what tradition you come out of. So some places they use both terms.
Ah, I like
Right.
Greeble, if I can remember it.
I'm
That was
gonna
at
start saying
Buzz's
Nernies
house.
just to mess you up.
Nernies. I sprained a Nernie. All right, back to my screen. I needed this for reference material. So on. This is page 7. This is where Cynthia is all grown up, overlooking to where, I know I've gone over this before, overlooking, this needs to be cleaned up real quick, or not quick, it needs to be cleaned up. Where she can be, yeah,
What is that?
this.
It looks like a pot.
Well, what I wanted to do is make it look like it's stepped up, and then the teleportation area right here would have all the runes and stuff for it.
Oh, okay. It's just on screen. It's so small.
And
looks
it can fit.
a cauldron.
It can fit gold coins in there and chalices.
It's her Lucky Charms.
Piss off
It
all
does
of
look like a pot. Hey, I was wondering, I was looking at this. What about before this? What about having a establishing shot where you kind of get the surroundings?
Well, hopefully this page, well, we'll explore that a little bit because
There's a page 6 that could do that.
Right.
Sort of like an aerial shot kind of thing.
Yeah,
I
mean,
did think about
that.
doing that. But
Just
the
a
script-
wider angle that says this is where they are.
Right.
Yeah, because here we've jumped again. We haven't really done. We have one of those, which is that drawing from Steve, but it's not really the place that they're at. So it's just kind of.
Well, let me go back to page 6 then.
Yeah,
This is
on
what
page 6, you have a fight with her mother, which she's showing now. We could even put another page in between, which shows the arena that she's in.
I think that'd be a great idea because when I got the script, it didn't call for that. I'm in total agreements with it, but again, working the confines of the script. This is also why we need to have these meetings.
Yeah,
This is
I had.
7 could be the establishing page, and then the other one you had, that could be 8.
Right.
You're right. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking you could also that establishing page 7. You could split it in 2, and at the top it could be an establishing from like looking at her and her father facing the whatever that arena thing is, and showing that, and then, like showing whatever buildings and stuff are in the back, and then below that it could be kind of a close-up of Cynthia, just kind of looking determined or stressed, kind of a combination of fearful and determined, and just like staring out there.
Someone whose name I don't recognize that goes as Jizba had a very good idea in BuzzNet, and that is storyboarding it with thumbnails and associating text with it even before we do pencils.
And
So
usually,
so we
What
can
I did,
load better.
I like that idea, and unfortunately the storyboards or the thumbnails, because last night, I have a new job, by the way, working for a big company in India doing lots of iPhone games. That's just good. That was taking the majority of my time, and this is my birthday today, so I had to get a lot of stuff done last night so I can have the day off with my wife. But you don't see the thumbnails because I did them by hand, and I did not do them in here. This is the layout that I decided. But I would like that idea. I think it's a great idea to start with the workflow from now on.
Well, one thing I could do, and I've thought about doing this, and some writers do it this way based on some of the research. I could do very rough thumbnails of the panels as I see them. Then the artist can look at that and say, oh, well, you need to do this, that, and the other thing. We could talk that out. Then they do the pencils and so on. But I could start with very
I think that'd be
crude
great.
idea of
That
what
would
I
be
think
awesome,
the
and I mean-
panel is going to look like.
That would be awesome. And I mean, Ray, I mean, for storyboards like that, you can even kit bash actual chunks of photos, whatever. You know, it doesn't matter so long as it conveys the idea.
And it will,
Whoever Jizba is, or how, I don't even know if that's the right way to pronounce it, thank you for the idea.
Indeed.
well, again, because the dangerous and the bad thing is we don't work in a studio environment together. We're not here to just get up to the desk and say, what do you think, what do you think? We're all around the world right now, which isn't a bad thing. I think it's pretty cool to show, you know, the environment of technology, where it's going, and what we can accomplish with it. But I think that'd be a great
we should
idea.
do that. Who's got a few $1 million?
Not it.
Me neither.
Hey, Ray, I sent,
Sadly.
what?
By the way, Derek, nice environment work. I am proud of you.
For that, really?
Yeah.
Well, cool. When we come back, it's already at the top of the hour. I really want to talk about what I went through to do this, and because it was funny when Wolf's like establishing shot. I'm like, I didn't show him page 6 first, because I'll have Mr. Ray read the scripts, because I wanted the establishing shot. And one of the things I learned at this last convention I went to, a lot of my work, I mean, they loved, and a couple of people like, well, you need X, Y, and Z, and I'm always open to constructive criticism. I'm not end all be all greatest guy in the world. I'm learning just like everybody else is. But one of their strategies was, like, the first panel, you just draw balls to the wall, super detail. He said, then you can get away with some of the crop shots like this, knowing that, oh, they're in that environment. Like you see my chick's feet right here. Well, because I drew the establishing shot pretty well, and once it's get inked in color especially, we know that's where she's at. Then everything else is just bits and pieces of everything around it. We know it's already established. So when Wolf's like, you need an establishing shot, I'm like, I know. So I do believe we need another page in between here. But with that said, let's go ahead and take a 5 to 10 minute break, use the bathroom, come back, and then let's start doing this page together. I want to explain how I put it together, have Mr. Ray read, I guess, the script, and see what you guys think of everything. This does not have to be, like I said, the end-all, be-all thing. This is what I like to call panic work. I had to panic and get it done quickly. I'm still proud of it. I think it reads well, but I'm sure we can make it better together. So is that cool with everybody?
Yep. Very, very cool.
And thank you, Steve. That made my night, dude. Seriously. We'll be back in 10.
I'm for somebody who says they can't do that, it's not just drawn well, but it's a great perspective. It's a good shot.
No. I matured in my years since it's my birthday today. And we'll have a standing ovation of everyone singing my birthday song before I leave. I'm teasing, that's okay. We'll take 10. I'm going to get a Diet Cherry Coke because that's what grown-ups do now. They drink bad sodas. Hey, welcome back, everybody. I'm drinking my own Diet Cherry Coke right now. Awesome. There's some sponsor logo ship for you. We're going to be shot into space, and as Joy Tempest said, it's the final countdown, and that was for Steve Curtis. At 50 Shades of Gray's with me, we have our art team in here. We have Mr. Ray, we have Richard, we have Miguel, we have Wolf Knightley. Sid is here. We awesome team, and I'm hoping to snag one more artist as a trophy artist and make them work lots of hours for a portion of my red M&Ms that I keep in my pocket at all times, because they only mount in your mouth, not in your hand or your pocket. His name's Nick?
Yes, Nick.
Jizba. Yeah.
Jizba. Is Nick here? Is he available?
He said he would talk if we could get him on. He said, yes, he is.
Roger that. Mr. 50 Shades, can you bring Jizbin, please?
I should be in.
Hello.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Oh, not too bad.
Have you been one of those lurkers before that you just kind of show up to class and see what's going on and decided to speak today?
No, I was looking for ways to do more portfolio work, so I started going through old stuff that I hadn't done in a while. I took a photography class here a while back.
Cool.
Sweet.
Then you're right up my boss's alley. He's all about photography, and he's a hell of an artist. But I'm glad that you're here tonight. I love your work. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, like my Bayhunt site said, I just graduated from ITT Tech. I'm looking for work in the game industry, either as an environmental artist or as a concept artist. And I'm doing projects right now basically to improve my portfolio. So I'm doing I'm going through like old game design documents I wrote for class and actually trying to build levels for them or do concept art, stuff like that.
A one-man show, a Renaissance man, very much like Mr. Ray Lewis. He's our lead and only writer at the moment, which we don't need anybody else. This is great. Well, welcome here. And if you want to build up your portfolio, we have tons of ideas. Have you seen any of the back videos where we first started this MMO class?
I kind of skimmed through them, but I'm like not 100% on everything for the story and stuff yet.
That's right, but you've seen the amount of work that as artists, I mean, we keep coming up with stuff every week, and it is a great way to build a portfolio. And more importantly, Jason Busby, 3D Buzz himself, I mean, we have this want, desire, need, and we will build this big MMO game. And it started in 2010 with an idea, and things got working and got built, and then things changed, and where we're at right now, we have a great story, a solid story about the Alethians and the humans, based, in my opinion, in theoretical reality where this could happen. And I like that. I like that it can be realistic. Of course, we're taking our own spins on it. Mr. 50 Shades of Grey, my handler, Nelson, brilliant programmer. He's working on an MMO development class right now. That does not directly tie into the game here, but some of the aspects and theories that he's teaching right now will correlate to what the gameplay is going to be. And then we're trying to develop a development team. Because as artists, I mean, I want the sky as the limit. I'm like, this looks cool, let's do this, and we can have particle effects here and this. But I don't know anything about programming. I don't know if the engine can handle X, Y, and Z, or if that's even logical to do. So this to say, we have plenty of art to go around. How would you like to be part of the team?
I would very much.
Yay!
That's why I'm here.
All right. So do you do any comic book work?
I've done storyboard stuff. That's about as close as I've gotten.
Well, I mean, storyboards, they're broken down differently, but you still have the feel and the rhythm of what given story you're working on, and you're working at different camera angles. I mean, that's what comic books are. I mean, just like, here I go. Let me do my control and spacebar so I can move my picture around a bit. Again, talking about the establishing shots, let me make another layer real quick right here and get books. Where you at? You're red. Here we go. That's fine. Talking about simple shapes. I'm a firm believer in just simple shapes. Get my pen tool out. And I'm really glad Mr. Steve Curtis said this is good environment work, because I'm a character artist. I do, like you said, you want to do concept art. That's my forte. I like to draw hot chicks in different positions, and as Steve calls them, booby tape. And that's not a bad word, Steve. That's what you say directly for armament. Now, like down here, this is not really booby tape so much as this is what Chelsea came up with. That's still black, darn it. That comes around through here, some sort of dress. You just can't tell the detail. But I'm on a different layer here, and I just literally started coming up with different shapes. I wanted to do some sort of hut where she was at, some sort of establishing shop, because we know that her family's poor. She comes from a poor environment. And the trees and stuff and through here, and what I really wanted to kind of showcase, I can ink all this stuff up pretty quick. It's not a problem. But with Manga Photos or Studio, basic. Effect, sound effect, no. Illustration, material, maybe center material. Oh, scheiße auch. Really? Okay, I'm really not this stupid, Nick. Possibly I am. I'm on the right layer. No, I'm not. That's why. Okay, this is a little tricky. I wanted to throw a bunch of trees up through here like this. Scheiße, oh. To build up a forest to see what that would kind of look like in class. And I'm not very happy with it. I like the control of inking it myself better. But anyway, that's what we're doing. And Mr. Ray, to quickly recap what you're going to be doing, you're going to do thumbnails for all the next pages that are coming up, which I think is brilliant. And now we kind of wasted enough time and talked, and I'm talking even more, is sit here and she able to show her page that's missing.
I've got her page up.
Okay, why don't we visit that, Mr. Ray? You read about that page,
Okay.
and then we'll jump into the next one in sequential order. And Mr. Nick, you're here. Feel free to jump in at any time. I want to hear your thoughts and comments and everything, okay? It's nice to have a new perspective.
No problem.
Indeed.
Right, Mr. 50 Shades of Grey, can you please take Wolf's screen?
Yeah, I tried to make Sid on the thing, but I don't know if she has a mic.
I have a mic. Can you hear me?
Hey,
Yeah.
Sid, how you doing?
Hi.
Hi, Sid.
Hi.
Are they in bathing suits?
No.
Oh.
I showed this when I first had my rough ones.
We said
No,
I
it's
don't-
all, man. You're a bunch of liars.
But
I
it's
don't think you inked it yet or something. It's sketchy.
You should have the inked one. I have an inked version. I can
Well,
resend it.
isn't this an inked version?
No,
I'm just saying. No.
no, that's not inked.
Okay.
I will send it to you though.
Yeah, you could send me just send me the JPEG. That's fine.
I'm not gonna make it a JPEG. Jeez.
This is what Steve just sent me. Sent me the wrong thing, man. Try to make it look bad.
it happens. All right, Mr. Ray, tell us what's going on here.
Well, at any rate, if you'll remember in the last page, Cynthia has just started school. She's in grade school. They're learning how to control their stones. All the other kids around her, the first lesson is how to control fire using their soul stones. And Cynthia can't make anything more than a little smoke. So now we're fast forwarding to about junior high school age here, and all the kids are taunting her on the playground. Please help me with my stone. I need Clan Clarish help, says one kid. Oh, go, get out of her way. Here comes Clan Clarish. She might incinerate you, says another one. Another one says, Cynthia, couldn't you teleport my family to the islands for the weekend because you're so powerful? And if you can see in the lower part here, they're just humiliating the poor girl, as junior high school kids are wont to do. So we
Junior
take
high
her-
people are evil.
We take her from baby to grade school to junior high, and then the next page, the one that Derek is going to work on, is the night before she goes on her coming of age quest. And that page will have a caption on it that reads, "An Alethian enters adulthood by quest, combining one's wits, stone skills, and physical prowess."
Oh, wait, real quick before you keep reading that, go ahead and take my screen back, Mr.
I have a question. Is this a fashion or is it bandages?
That's like bandage-like stuff, but it could be fashion. And I just sent you the inked one.
Like maybe he's hurt or something.
No,
No,
he's
that's not what
hurt.
I was thinking.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like a male girdle looking cool thing. I don't know
Those
the
like
name.
fancy like big wrapped belts they wear in like Japan and stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
See?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a wrap kind of clothes.
Thank God Nick's here.
Thank you, Nick. Yeah. Come on, Wolf, get out of the house more.
Okay.
Get your Kung Fu channel on Netflix or something.
Okay, so now on this page, we need a place for a caption. We could probably do that right across the top. Might cut off the top of that dome, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. And in the caption it would read, "An Alethian enters adulthood by quest, combining one's wits, stone skills, and physical prowess to face and overcome a series of 4 deadly challenges. Cynthia is smart and excels in the martial arts. As for her stone skills, well, ... And the panel 1 is Cynthia is heading out the door, and her mother is saying, "Where are you going? Your quest starts in the morning." Cynthia says,
real quick, real quick, Mr. Ray, this is going to be a door that is opened right here, and I was thinking about that. The mom's on the inside, so the word balloon would be coming through here, and then we hear Cynthia talk, and you can double up the word balloons like that.
okay. Her response is, "I'm taking one last night out with my friends since I'm going to die tomorrow, okay?" And she really believes that. She believes there's no way she can survive this quest. So then the next panel, her mother gets very stern with her. "Get back in here. Don't disgrace yourself. You're Clan Clarish." Well, that's the last thing Cynthia wants to hear. And she says, "They kicked you out of Clan Clarish because you married my worthless father, in case you forgot. I can't get my soul stone to do squat. So when a broad beast is chewing on my arm, I'll just say, 'You can't do that. I'm a direct descendant of Lady Claro. That should do the trick, Mom.'" And then we have an angered Cynthia, and she's thinking or saying, "How do they know what happened thousands of years ago? With my luck, Lady Claren's just a legend anyway," and she slams the door, and her mom silently watches the back of the slamming door with sadness and pain in her face. So that's the script. Now we can cut the words down, probably should, but that's what's going on.
Roger that. So I literally try to keep all that in mind, doing the establishing shot here. Hold on, get the right layer. This funky looking panel here. Hold on. Shift. Because I wanted to be able to prod in this panel here, but start throwing the action of the eye down to here, where she slams, walking away, and then it leads to the mom. And what I really try to do, instead of just straight on shots, because then that gets boring. I have 1, 2, 3 straight on shots. This is a small angle. So I wanted to throw a 3/4 pose right here of the mom and make the camera angle tilt. And of course you have the back of the door where it was slammed through here, and then you throw some shadows and stuff like that in that area right there. So that's what I was thinking about here, which would lead to the next page. Oops. What we're going to have to do, but we don't have yet, because you're right, we need an establishing shot.
Okay, yeah. And the next page, we have the quest arena. And panel 1 had been a long shot down from a 3/4 view over the shoulder from behind Cynthia. I had expected it to be wider. But again, we're going to 3 panels, and I had 6. That's just fine. We just break it up. But what happens here is her father comes up, hands her a staff. He makes war staffs. He says, "Take this, you'll need it." Again, from over her shoulder, we see that the top third of the war staff contains stones very much like her soul stone, the same color and similar shape.
And that's where you're going to come in, Wolf. Why I drew it black like this, so you can come in and use your eraser tool and then put all your stones and shapes on it through here.
Right.
And then at this point, we're probably going to the next page, because then she says, "What? How?" She doesn't understand. Her father says, "I can't go into it now. Just take it." Then we go to another panel, which has the head mage and the 4 mages of air, fire, water, and ground all setting themselves up properly to send her on her quest. and then the Madge tells her she's going to face 4 quests, that the first one she's going to confront an assassin who will either kill her to win his freedom or will die at her hands, and if she survives that, 3 more trials await her, and then we see her teleporting off onto her 4 challenges, and that sort of completes the first arc of the story, from her birth to the struggles she has with her stones, to her father who she's angry at because she blames him for her humiliation, suddenly giving her this strange war staff as she's about to go off to her fight, and then she leaves. And the next arc of the story will be her 4 challenges.
So we're literally about 4 pages away finishing the first story arc then.
Yes.
That's not bad.
And if we need to spread it out over 10 or 12 pages from beginning to end, the objective is to tell the story, not cram as much as we can on a page. I'm learning a lot about this, and I, in fact, when I gave you the script for the first challenge, I just had panels. I didn't even try to decide how many went on a page. I just described the panels.
Real quick, while we're at it here, let me show you this. File, new, okay. And this is not at all, I'm not using my ruler page or rulers or whatever. Okay, so the way Marvel and stuff works out, because they do a panel, page breakdown, DC is very, very picky. They do panel to panel. So this is very much like a grid. This is A, this would be B here, so this is A1 panel, B2, B3, B1, B2, B3. And if you had a C, 1, 2, and 3, because sometimes you may have a panel that is in this quadrant right here, breaks up through here, then this way you can tell what panels are breaking up where for the script writing purposes. So you can say, you know, quadrant A1 panel needs to be more like this. The second panel is going to stretch through quadrant A2 and A3. It's just a different workflow that we may or may not want to use. A lot of the people I work for, they're like Mr. A. All right, here's a page and here's panel 1, 2, 3, 4. They don't get all that technical, but it's something I definitely wanted to share with you guys. So thoughts about what's going on so far? Cricket, cricket, cricket.
I've been sharing Manga 5 with Nick. He thinks it's pretty cool and he might be getting it.
Right. You know, so, okay, let's do that then. Mr. Ray, do you want to explain what, I mean, the Manga 5 guy that got me involved in it, and I think a lot of aspects you know a lot better than I do, some of the different tools, is I've not had to explore them. I'm literally trying to keep my head afloat doing day-to-day work, and it's hard to explore it and master new things while you're doing that. So tell us, what do you think is so powerful, and this is the normal Manga 5 and the new aspects of what just came out?
Okay, well, the base Manga Studio 5 costs $79 plus delivery fees or whatever. So it's like around 90 bucks all in. And it allows you to work 1 page at a time. You can have more than 1 page up. As you can see here on Derek's, he has a number of panels up here. But you don't actually arrange them into a comic book, which the Pro version does, and that costs another 100 bucks. If you already have regular 500 bucks will get you the Pro version. But
well, we can't do this though.
As he's showing you, it does a lot of the things that Photoshop does. You got all the layers over all the way on the right-hand corner, and those layers you have the control over their opacity and also over the way that they combine. So you have multiply, screen, dodge, burn, all of those kinds of things which you'd be familiar with from Photoshop.
Let me jump in just real quick, because what I just did, we're talking a little bit about making comics. Under the materials folder, manga material, and say I like 2 rows, 3 frames too, drag this drop in here. What's really great about this is if I go to this layer, turn this layer off and on, okay, this is the only layer, everything else is masked out. So when I bring my pen through here to draw, why can I not draw on this layer?
Go down one.
I wanted to show the mask ability because, okay, yeah, you're right. See how I'm trying to draw through here? Nothing gets drawn through here because this is masked. So literally, I can have my Lethean starting out here. Get a little neck action going on. Sort of thing. And I can still have that stroke right through here because if I have to stop here, it really ruins my flow and how I draw. Same thing coming down through here like this. I want that nice line weight. It's not going to booger up this layer here because everything is masked. And then
Yeah, one of the nice things about it is because it's designed specifically, it started out specifically for comics, though now pretty much you're not going to deal with photographs in this, but almost any kind of drawn illustration can be done in this. So you have these kinds of tools. Something that Derek showed last week, I believe, is there are actual little 3D mannequins that you can use to create poses to help you out in terms of, you know, the anatomy of maybe a particularly difficult angle that you want to get.
Say we want to have a mill. So I select my mill drawing through here. It's the mill body. This will come up here, very much like Poser and Daz. And then say we're going to enter a door. I just draw this on top of it.
And you can move it around. You can make it fat. You can make it skinny. You can make the head bigger. You can make it look like a child. Again, you need to play around with it, but it's just a tool to help you get a pose correct when you're working. A thing I love about it is the pens and pencils and brushes. They look and act just like real watercolor, real ink, real pencil, real charcoal. It's just, and it has every bit as much flexibility to create your own custom brushes as Photoshop does, but what you get right out of the box is just amazingly fun to work with. It has lots of great hotkeys for workflow and zooming in and out and moving around. I've only scratched the surface on this thing. But it just, I look at Photoshop as an incredibly wonderful program that's like an industrial machine shop. And I look at this as more like something a cabinet maker would use, because you're not trying to do all of the different things that Photoshop has grown to do over the years. It's more designed specifically for people who draw and paint.
And with that said, I do want to get back to more MMO stuff, but that is a really quick rundown, Mr. Nick, of, I guess, Manga Studio. What do you think?
I like it. I've been looking for something with like brushes like Photoshop and stuff that's lighter weight than Photoshop, because I do most of my drawing on like an actual like tablet, like a fancier version of like an iPad. So it's got to meet the system requirements of the tablet. It just bogs down when I have a decent sized canvas with Photoshop.
And whenever I say this, go ahead.
One thing I forgot to mention that someone just mentioned, Steve just mentioned, they have incredible perspective rulers on this. You can set up a ruler, set your vanishing points for 1, 2, or 3 point perspective, and then you throw a blank layer on top of that, and everything you draw, the lines are properly lined up. So if you need to rough in a city street or something of that nature, set your perspective ruler, go to the one layer up, rough in your angles and streets and buildings and then paint on top of that. No having to do rulers. It all adjusts automatically. It's just really cool.
So there's a lot of power here. And of course, you can use Photoshop, whatever you want to use. Steve and I both believe the ends justify the means in art, as long as you're not ripping anybody off or plagiarizing. Everything has been done before. And my favorite tool to use is my G pin up through here. You can cycle through the pins by hitting P. I'm doing a lot of card artwork now for Steve, and I'm using my mechanical pencil to give it more of a pencil look. And then for inking, of course, this is what I choose to use here. But getting back to the MMO class, so Mr. Ray, your assignment is going to be to throw the thumbnails down for the next, this is, if you can, do them all, get all the pages done. I'm going to finish this page right now. Mr. Nick, are you up for trying to do a page?
Yeah, I could give it a shot.
I love this guy.
I know, right?
No kidding. Now, where are you calling from? Where in the States do you live?
Omaha, Nebraska. Sort of in the middle.
In the middle. So we're all going to meet at Nick's house for a nice barbecue here. I'll be there in about 20 hours.
All right,
We can
sounds
get there
good.
faster and then get to the buzz cave.
Yeah, no kidding. So, all right. Now, my question to you is, do you have we need to get him access to the Dropbox where we have all of our artwork in. We need to give him access to all the pages that we have so far. That has to be done. But I found myself sorting through email because it's my fault for not being organized, but I'm learning to be more organized to look at the pages because I needed, continuity. What does this chick look like? Because we got some great concept pieces of it, and I'm darn determined I don't want to do it myself. Like, I'll just make it up as I go along. No, the art class has done some really good work, and I really try to get Chelsea's vision for what Cynthia looked like. I loved her hair and the form. I love her feet. So we've got to get him access to that. Options for that, anybody?
I might be the only person here more disorganized than you are. So.
That's terrible. We do have the Dropbox.
Okay. I am going to put a link to the 5 pages that I showed earlier right in BuzzNet.
Okay.
Okay, so I just put it in there. So Nick, if you want copies of the 5 pages I showed at the beginning of the class with text and so on, just go into that Dropbox. They're right there.
Now the next
is all together.
Now, is there any more characters that are going to be introduced that we need concepts for?
Well, we talked a little bit last week. We're going to, for this story arc, where we need a few more characters. We have the father, the mother, our heroine herself, and the mage of fire, who is her mentor. That was the person that helped her in her bonding ceremony. In addition to him, we need a mage of air, a mage of water, and a mage of earth, and then finally the grand mage. The grand mage is a woman. The mage of air is a ratty male.
Let's just do one at a time.
Her enemies by the time the first comic is over, when she's completed her quest. We already have the mage of fire, so we're going to need water and ground. So anybody who wants to take grand mage, air, water, or ground, go for it. But
let's do one real quick in class.
To be an arrogant, aristocratic woman, and we want the mage of air to be a weaselly sort, and then the other two can be whatever you want them to be. You could have one that's sort of a Friar Tuck character, whatever.
All right, let's pick one real quick. Right? Oh, wait. Let's pick one right now and discuss. I'll start. Hold on, Wolf. Let's pick one right now. I'll start doodling right here, and we'll throw some ideas out so at least we get something accomplished. One less thing that we have to come up with. So which one do we want to pick?
Well, do you want to try the Weasley guy?
That's what I was kind of thinking.
Yeah, that sounds kind of fun. Let's do the Weasley guy.
Let's do the Weasley guy. All right, Weasley guy is turning into an art lesson, but that's cool. I'll make kind of I guess an action line here. Weasley guy, he's not, in my opinion, won't be as big and bulky as everybody else.
Yeah.
We'll give him kind of a nice
Slouch shoulder.
I was kind of thinking of him as kind of an old man, kind of a gnarled looking old man type.
And maybe instead of the neck being big and strong, it's like you said, kind of hunched over through here. Crotch area. Thank God we're not doing anything with hinged legs anymore.
They're not that hard.
What kind of you want him to have a staff?
Yeah, that'd be
I
good.
think
Slash walking
here,
stick.
he's the Mage of Air. I mean, they could all have staffs for that
Okay,
matter.
well, Mage of Air, let's do this then. If he's going to be really kind of a weasel, let's maybe do something where you think he should be floating all the time, like in air, like because he's the Mage of Air. Would he always be like, hey, look at me, I can fly, and everyone else sucks? Or do you want him to be walking?
If he's floating, he's going to only just be a little bit off the ground. Maybe he sort of sweeps around.
Okay, well, okay, crap, I should have kept that last. And of course, I can't go back. Let's start over again, shall we? Sure. Let's do the center mass, uno mas. Crotch area, a little bit of a buttocks going on through here. And I hate it. Originally I was thinking about doing that Yoda thing where he just kind of sits and floats.
We could always just make his jewelry and like other stuff like that float off his head or like his
And you
arms and
could have
stuff.
some kind of a robe. That's okay too.
So the robe will be coming down here like this because he's floating. So it's important to have a drop shadow sort of thing here. Where his shoulders are going to go. I like the idea of his head. Maybe not that far. I still want him to have some muscle mass, but not a lot. Just because of their whole characteristics of being
No,
strong.
He's got some strength to him. But he's not bulky, he's just wiry. What sort of top do you foresee on him? Do you want robes? Maybe some sort of cross belt. And then you can see his arms. I kind of like the idea of maybe seeing his arms where they're not super, like you said, bulky, but toned sort of thing. And how about let's do something to his head right through here, because we've established earlier that some of the Alethians have different shaped heads. That might be kind of cool to do that. Do you want a shoulder pad, one of them on? Make them asymmetrical. he's an important character, so anything you can do that gives him a very readable silhouette. He and the head mage are going to be, they may be lurking in the shadows from time to time. So yeah, give asymmetric silhouettes, something like that, you can recognize them very quickly.
So I was kind of thinking of, you know, like that, like in the Karate Kid or whatever, how they have that headband thing. Do you know what I'm talking about? On the forehead, they tie it in the back. I was thinking something like that could have a symbol of an air on it, and then in the back, like that might be neat, kind of blowing in the wind, kind of in the back. It's an image I had. Yeah, and then in the back they're like traily things.
I like the idea of having some loose cloth on him.
Right.
And maybe we can do that with the wraps around his head, where it wraps up through here like this. It's really nice and flowing. We have some sort of regal-looking helm here, again, because we want a good silhouette read from afar. The big, bulky one shoulder pad, and then one of the gloves, very, very big. The fact that he'll always be floating, and we can layer this robe here, so we can see things always floating in the wind. And that's how I do really quick concepts. I hope it doesn't suck too bad, but that's seriously, that's what I do. But can we agree maybe something like that? That can be the air mage?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. It's got a nice silhouette.
Cool. All right, so let's break it. Go ahead.
He looks mean and sneaky, which is the point.
Mean and sneaky, a little mean and sneaky person. See, Steve, I just read my note. Don't say any bad words, and it stopped me. Let's break down what page Nick is going to do so we can give him all the information. It'll behoove us to do that as well. Do we want him to do the new page where it has the training, not the training, I guess it's the training grounds? The one page that we're going to add before page 7, before this page?
Yeah, the arena.
The arena. Because I seen he's pretty good at perspective. So it's the one that comes right before this page.
You mean the establishing shot?
Yeah, the establishing shot. And we can throw a couple more panels in there to where she's led to be right here. Would you be up for that, Nick?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay, so Nick, there have been a couple of different ideas as to what this area might look like. This is a ceremonial area in which somewhere in the center of it there is a place she's going to stand, and when they send her on her quest they will teleport her from that spot. There are going to be the 5 mages, the one for air, one for water, one for ground, one for fire, and then the head mage. So maybe there's some kind of a pentangle kind of a layout. And there's going to be a stone pillar in the circle she's going to stand in, and she's going to put her hand on. And then she's going to, so we're trying to establish that area. Now, one idea early on was that it was sort of an inverted Mayan pyramid, that it went down into the ground. She walked down the steps and into a door. Another idea was that she was in the center, and there were little 5 stands of crystals that sent energy toward her, and those each set of crystals was manned by one of the mages. So there are a lot of different directions you can go in to design this arena, and we're open to ideas. Particularly if you're looking for concept art, it's going to be a place of ceremony. It's going to be a place where a crowd can watch.
Okay.
It could have a raised dais, or it could have a lowered pit in the center, or some combination of those things.
Didn't someone like Sydney or Chelsea do some concept art for that?
They did a sort of a rough of the one with the crystals and the raised one in the center. Yeah.
I remember I liked that.
I was looking for it. I couldn't find it.
I have it.
Hey, can you show it to us, please, Miss Sid?
Hold on, let me find it. I know I have it, but
Hey, I guess I get to see you next Saturday, Sid. It's like I was not even gone.
alright, yeah, I found it. I don't have all the mages, I don't think, but I have it.
Can you take Sid's screen, please, Mr. 50 Shades? Nick, I'm very glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're interjecting creative juices and more need to create here with us.
What were you saying? You cut out a bit when it switched over.
I was just happy Nick is here. I'm glad that we have a new, fresh set of eyes, someone who's enthusiastic, has a good study, good read for perspective and characters. Ships are beautiful. So, again, just very glad that he's here to interject energy into the group.
Gotcha.
Yeah, something like this would work great. We just need to have 5 stations instead of 4.
So you could have like someone right
Yeah, the grand
there.
match is going to be sort of at the peak.
Mm-hmm.
And
You have
she's
like a
gonna be-
higher pedestal.
Yeah.
She's going to be made to teleport there to
Okay.
kind of light up and disappear, kind of sort of Star Trek transporter-y like in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That could be an idea. Though what we're going to do with the establishing shot is she's not actually going to be in the center yet. She's going to be off to the side. And so maybe we have a more acute angle, and maybe we just see her back and she's looking down into this, which is sort of what I had in mind for the establishing shot. And again, that's just an idea.
I was having the idea of kind of the reverse, where like we see this in the foreground, and then she's in and her dad's are behind that, and then behind that you could see part of the city or whatever it is.
Let's ask Mr. Nick.
Possible too, but then the next shot would be a close in of her and her dad.
Well, let's first of all, what we're going to do is we need the establishing shot, but we need an entire page. Now, there's a couple ideas of thought. We can do an entire splash page again and just have tons of detail, like that's the establishing shot, then leads into the page that I'm working on. We can do that, and that may not be a bad idea. Nick, how do you feel, or what do you think about it? Because, I mean, ultimately, you're going to be the artist drawing it. I want you to be able to ask questions.
Well, I've got a couple of different ideas. I was thinking we could either do like a shot from behind her back, like where you see her like walking into the arena, so you see the platform in front of her and her back like in shadow, and then you see like the crowd in front of her with like everything that way. Or we could do like a really like long distance from above shot where you see her like walking towards the arena like real small after that shot, something like that.
Well, how many panels do
Just
you
sort of
want
large scale
this page
establishing
to have,
thing.
Mr. Ray? Do we want to go through a huge, just one-paneled page, or do you want to break it down to 2 or 3?
We could make it a one-panel page as long as it sets up the page you're working on with her dad. So we're going to go from the page where she's fighting with her mother and she slams the door, and then we're going to have this page will have that big caption that explains what's going on across the top.
Okay.
Okay, the one that talks about the quest that they're sent on. And so this won't necessarily be completely as vertical as a full page would be, because you'll have room for that caption.
And do you want people in the shot, like Sid's like throwing Alethians all around here, or is it going to be empty at this point?
Yeah, this is the morning of. People have gathered. The mages are there. She's coming into the arena, And then the next page, of course, the one you were working on, where her dad comes up to her and says, hey, take this. Don't ask me any questions. Just take this. And then the page after that, they send her on her way.
Okay.
Speaking of the other environment concept artist in the room, I like Nick's idea of splitting it into 2 panels and giving a big wide, this is an epic event shot, and then closing in behind her. That
would work
how
fine.
huge this is.
I second that. I'm glad I thought of that, Steve.
So you have the caption, and then below that a sort of a wide shot, and then below that a tight shot.
Yeah, kind of a real wide, and then to like a mid-angle from behind her. You can still see the whole arena, but you're not looking at it from an airplane, you know.
And then
It would be like you're walking like sort of close behind her, so you can see everything that she would see walking into the arena.
And that would lead
That'd
into
be great. You make it a progression, yeah.
and that could lead to the page that I'm working on, where I can change that background because you have the tight shot of her back, and we can make it even tighter there.
Ray, where exactly is this supposed to be at the edge of town, or?
Yeah, that's generally where arenas are, right?
So, well,
Or in the center.
Which
But
is-
or
Yeah,
they
so-
could be in the center.
And are we talking like Roman Colosseum type of place, or is it like smaller, like a Greek temple kind of thing?
Nick, have you had a chance to back up through any of this stuff or read any of the story in the forums or anything?
Not really. I skimmed through some of the videos, and that's about all I've had time to do.
All right.
Okay, one of the things, and so the answer to your question is it could be either one. Part of the backstory is that 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, the Alethians came to Earth, and they discovered that we also had these living crystals, and they essentially looted them. They started in the area around China and worked their way west, and over the course of several thousand years, the last place that they took all of our living crystals was in the Mayan, Aztec, Inca area, and that would be maybe 1,000, 1,500 years ago from our current time. And so these legends of the sky people with the strange shaped heads, it was the Alethians, and they had an impact on each of the civilizations that they hit, because they could only have a few here, but they had these powers. So they essentially ran things while they were doing this. And so ancient Chinese, ancient Babylonian, Greek, Roman, Egyptian, Mayan, all of that, the similarities in that architecture is because of the influence of the Alethians. So you can take your pick.
Okay.
I was having the concept that that it could be just on the outside of town, so it's still connected to the city, but so there's the city on one side, and on the other side there could be a canyon, like so it's kind of this deep vista thing on one side. I thought that might look sharp.
Yeah, if we're doing the establishing shot, you can put some town off on one side. You could have sheer cliffs up or down around it. Make it look neat.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would say to bear in mind is that the Alethians use these silicone life forms in the stones to manipulate matter, so they essentially grow their buildings.
Yeah, I remember seeing that, so it was going to have to be a little bit organic at least.
Yeah, so it should have a bit of an organic feel, but you can certainly steal from some ancient styles for doing it. And other than that, I would say Nick is fresh blood.
Well,
We should kinda just see what Nick comes up with.
Yeah. I like it.
Look at the angles that are in silicon crystals. That could give you some idea for various lines that they might use.
I have an idea. I think might be kind of neat. If you want to hear it.
Sure.
Sure.
If there is kind of a canyon there, it could be somewhere not necessarily in the middle, but inside the canyon, and there could be kind of like an interesting like it was on one pillar, but kind of an organic looking pillar. So it's kind of think of the Jetsons in a way, but and then there's like steps to that don't go all the way down. They're not attached to. They're just attached to where they start, and you know, that's so they're like thin and attached to the object itself, so you can get up to it. But it's just kind of so it's completely surrounded except for the steps by space.
Okay, just threw a link into an image, something from the Grand Canyon like that, where you have like a bend in the river cutting the canyon, and so you have this really like tall pillar of rock that's sort of isolated from everything else. You just put it on something like that, have the town be behind it.
Hold on, I'm looking.
Sounds cool to me.
Sounds really cool to me. Hey, and is Miguel here?
Yeah.
Because I know we had some work that we might want to showcase real quick, because I don't want to sell anybody down short. We had some assignments last week. Miguel, are you here, buddy?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, you jump in here anytime, man. And Mr. Clinton, you guys need to jump in. I want you guys to be more active. I don't want to ignore you by any means. But do you have some work you wanted to show us tonight?
Well, I did some kind of concept of the mage, the female hair mage that Ray mentioned last week.
Let's look at that. If you can take Mr. Miguel's screen, 50 Shades of Nelson, that would be awesome. What everyone's kind of thinking and pondering what's going on for this next page.
It's not color, but that's the idea.
I love her outfit, dude. Where'd she go? Here she is.
Nice job.
So
Really nice
this
job.
is our Grand Mage.
You mentioned that there was a female and a male. I think that's the one that Derek drew just a moment ago.
Yeah, this could very easily be the head mage.
I like it. I love the outfit.
And well, that's it. I couldn't do the challenge that Steve put to me last week, but I did this using the dashboard that he told me. So
It's okay, Miguel. Don't sound so sad. It's all right.
now I promise I'll do it for next Friday, but I just had time to do this one. So
That's very good. I like that. She looks very head major.
She does. Very regal.
Yeah, that's exactly the feel I was looking for.
Awesome job. Well done, dude. You nailed her on the first approach.
Oh,
I
thank
love
you.
that detail.
And well, I just discovered that. Well, I used that to get the dynamic pose. This was the model I used.
Ah, yes.
Nice.
And it was really easy. You just take it to Photoshop and basically you just draw the contour around her, and there you have the base of where you can start. That's where I started.
Very well done. Like I said, ends justify the means.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking for a perspective. But you did the artwork. You were just getting a pose.
Yes, and
Kind of met my
it was really quick.
Say again, Steve?
that any kind of met my challenge. He still used Daz to get a pose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, using Daz to get a pose isn't any different than using like one of those like art like posing dolls for a reference.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're on the same page. I struggled with that before. I mean, like, you can't do that. That's cheating. You have to do. Well, you know what? When you have like 10,000 different deadlines that all coalesce at different times, it's not so much cheating. It's you start to work smart.
Yeah, I like to eat and not get rained on.
Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, well, hey, we're actually like 10 minutes over time. I apologize, but we had a lot of this stuff done. What we need to do is get Mr. Clinton our email addresses.
You mean Nick?
Damn, darn. Sorry, that was a slip. But you're right, Mr. Nick. Take my screen real quick. Or actually, I don't have BuzzNet on. Can you type my email address there to him, Mr. Steve?
I could just give you my email address real fast.
Well, that'd be too logical. Hold on, let me get a pen. And by
They're
pen, I
dropping
mean...
in the BuzzNet as we speak.
Okay.
Derek.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you should just type yours in there, and we'll all send you a hello email instead of making you do
Tons of work.
emails.
We'll do that. So next week, then let's do this. I'll have my page done, fully inked and ready to ship off to Wolf to Color. You'll have yours done as well. And what else do we need to create? We've got the head magi. We have the kind of Weasley air guy. We need the other couple of mages, don't we?
Yeah, and they can be pretty much anything. As I say, if somebody wants to do sort of a Friar Tucky kind of a person, somebody could be really big and like the ground guy could almost be a little bit hulkish.
That'd be okay. I'll tackle him.
You know, the water person was the only one that's left then, because we got our fire, we've got our ground, we have our air. So the water guy, that's the one that's left open.
I want to do the water guy if I can.
Okay, go for it.
High quality H2O, Mr. Waterman. That's what you gotta do. You gotta do the good water.
Do not
Okay.
start that.
Can you tell me something
I
about
got into that
water?
too.
Go ahead, Miguel. Don't worry about them. They're the devil. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Miguel. What's up?
I just wanted to know if Ray can tell me something about the water mage so I can have an idea.
I really hadn't thought a whole lot about him. He's just, at this point, sort of a bystander. But put it this way. The air guy and the head mage, they are going to be her enemies. They want to steal her power and then kill her. That's once they understand what she can do. The fire guy is the one who has been her mentor and is the person that helped her in her bonding ceremony. So the ground guy and the water guy are neutral. They're the ones that if we get at some point in the future where the mages have to vote as to what's going to happen to Sincha, they're going to be the ones that people will have to convince. So they're the neutral guys. They're decent people, but they're people. And again, if you're imagining a magister who controls water, what would they look like?
Okay, but he's a guy. He's male.
Moist?
Well, it may well be female. Could be female. Because probably the ground one will be a guy. So if we're going to sort of split it up, this is a matriarchal society. The water person could easily be female.
Okay, because I was a little scared that maybe this one that I drew doesn't look evil enough to be an enemy. I was thinking she looks like a little bit too heroic. I don't know what you think.
But I mean, you did a great job on the head mage. I mean, just go for it.
I think you'll do a great job. I really loved going back to that chick's, whatever, the Elysian woman, I don't want to say it's chick, her armament. It had a very Mayan-esque feel, the lower bottom half. I mean, to me it did. And I know you'll do a good job. And if we have the lead is a female, my rock guy's a dude, the air guy's a dude, go ahead and draw another female. It's going to balance it out a little bit. What do you think?
Okay.
Okay, well, any other last-minute thoughts?
Happy birthday to you, and welcome to Nick.
Happy birthday.
I'm 22 today.
Yeah,
Times-
happy birthday.
Times two. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Life is good. Got to see Red 2 with my lovely wife today. Went out to eat. Got to talk to Steve a little bit. We got some really cool ideas coming for 3D Buzz. And again, my birthday wish is that we all challenge our friends who are artists, get them on the site, get them member sponsors, get them involved in all this, because I really believe we're going to be creating some really cool things. And just like Nick, it's great to build your portfolio up. Because I looked at his site, and he's brilliant at drawing and creating ships in 3D and this, but I really hope that we're going to push him in different directions that he never thought he was going to be. And I've done that several times. People are like, well, we need you to draw X, Y, and Z. I'm like, crap, I've never thought about that before. So just being part of the art team, you're going to be pushed in different directions. Sometimes drawing hurts, stretching like that, but we're also building contacts. Maybe Nick's going to like rule the world and he can be my boss one day. I mean, I hope that. I hope everyone here, whatever your dream is, if this is what you want to pursue, you make it, and you make it 10 times more than you ever thought you could. And then you can hire me sometimes just to be the pretty guy in the corner drinking sodas.
Oh, and Nick, I posted in BuzzNet, but you went to school for game design, as in do you have actual design training versus art or programming?
I can write concept documents like a boss, so if you guys need any like design elements, balancing things, I can do that too.
Hello.
Well, yeah, we have a programming team and we have us as an art team. We don't have a design team, and I would like to build that. And
Okay.
the art team kind of desperately needs a design team to start telling it what it should be doing.
It's
We
true.
misbehave.
To give you a little bit of a background, the reason we're doing the comic book is that it's going to be a while before there's going to be any kind of a playable game, and so the idea was to create a comic narrative that got people familiar with the world and how it worked by following a character through some adventures in that world, and to establish a relationship of Earth to Alethea so that that's all in place when the game is finally playable. So that's the reason we're doing the comic. And then the game, the people making the game can pick and choose things that we've come up with in the comic that they might want to integrate into the actual gameplay.
Do you guys have like a basic concept document someplace I could flip through? Because I could start doing documentation stuff too.
What a fine question.
Yeah, we'll refer to Mr. Ray. Ray, do you have that made yet?
I've got a couple of things. Let me get your...
Hey, Derek, could you
Sir.
email
I'm just
me
writing
that?
down your email so that I can email you some of the documents I've written on that.
That win guy that
Nelson?
you did?
Yeah, let me get it real quick.
Nelson, are you there?
Yo.
How much of the previous MMO game design document as far as design are we sticking to, or is it all new territory?
That's up to you guys. And the non-existent design team.
We know it's existent. We have one dude, and his name is Nick the Great.
Well, there's plenty of stuff to go
Alright.
through. It's all in the forums, and there's video recordings of a bunch of stuff. So that's a good starting point.
Alright, I can go through stuff, and I'll just do like a quick 10-page document before I do anything else, just like the basic concept that you'd use to sell the game to somebody first, and make sure everything's right, like character classes and all that kind of stuff.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, we'll start there, and then we'll just keep fleshing it out, because it's really kind of just being juggled up in the air, and anything goes right now.
Because if you really want to like full documentation for a design team, we're gonna end up having to write like 300 or 400 pages easy just to detail the classes and what the goal is with each class and different areas and dungeons and all that kind of good stuff.
And bear in mind, it's a small student team, so think that in terms of game size.
Okay, yeah, that's not too hard to do. I'm used to working with that kind of stuff.
Awesome. That is awesome. That is beyond awesome.
I got my birthday wish.
Omaha and buy you a beer.
I got my wish, Steve. I wished for that, and I also wished for hair in the morning, so I hope to wake up and have a full set of beautiful golden locks like 50 Shades of Nelson.
1 out of 2 ain't bad, buddy.
1 out of
I
2
can't
ain't
imagine
bad.
that you wouldn't.
Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All the those people have long flowing locks.
I want to try something a little bit different with the wind thing, if I have time for it. So that's. But I was kind of liking some of your costume stuff. So.
It works for me. Take that design and run with it.
Yeah. So if you send it to me.
I just sent it. You got the email.
Oh, cool.
Guys, we had a great night. A really good night. Nick, I am very proud of you. And glad that. Sorry about that. Can't sing and talk at the same time. All right. Nick, very glad that you're here. I'm an idiot. I'm a dork, but I'm a man-child.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
So how did you find us? You just started coming back and visiting the website?
I took that photography class from Thomas Dodd back in whatever November it was, and then I had my capstone project, so I didn't have time to really do anything else, and then I sort of forgot about it till the summer.
Gotcha. Well,
like, I was going to take that drawing class you did, whatever, right after that, but I got too busy to do anything for it.
Well, what drawing class would you like to see next? I'm wrapping up fantasy art. I thought about jumping into steampunk stuff.
I'll do anything. Steampunk sounds fun, so I'd do that too.
Okie dokie. That sounds good. Well, I'm glad that you're here. Spread the word out. Look for the daily drops. Steve, myself, Nelson have been working very hard on them. And sooner than later, we're going to roll out some really cool, big new ideas. This Friday night, we're going to have a radio show with David Miller from Imaginary Studios. He couldn't make it last week. Some personal things came up. He's going to be talking about transmedia, some great ways for small teams to get together to make real money, and hopefully Buzz will be there, and he's going to share what he's been doing, which is going to be nice. And we're going to be talking about what we're doing in the MMO class and how we're bringing it all together for a huge project. So I invite you guys to be there because I'd love for some of the art team to be able to come in and talk about what's going on, their experience, good, bad, and the ugly. And that will be at 7 Central Time, isn't it?
6 Central Time.
6 Central, 7 your time.
All right, bad. 6 Central.
Please note the web. Did we ever change the website, Nelson?
I'll have to do that at some point.
Right. The website says 7 because that's what it used to be, but it is 6 Central.
All right, roger that. With that, guys and gals, thank you very much for being here. Nick, blessed that you're here. Can't wait to see what you do. Mr. Ray, it's always great to have you here. Great ideas. Steve, I love you. Miguel, Mr. Wolf, Clinton. Again, all you guys are rocking it out. Thank you very much. Everybody else, I want you to step up to this plate. Let's make this our vision. Let's make it come to life. With that, we'll see you guys later. Keep your feet on the ground and your ankles slightly above them.